Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to include a little brief note before you watch this video because it might be confusing. I recorded this video 2 years ago and never got around to uploading it. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know if you have any comments or responses, and enjoy. It's been a little while since I've recorded a video, but today I wanted to record my birth story. It was a home birth just like my last one. My first baby I had in the hospital, my second I had at a birth center, and then my last two here, my third and fourth, I've had at home. And this is a positive birth story, and I just wanted to share my story because it's possible to have a positive home birth. And this is not a free birth, this was a birth with midwives, just for the record. So I had my baby about a little over a week ago. They were born just before midnight. It was funny, they were born at the exact same time as my second daughter, and my labor started right around the same time as it did with my second daughter. So I actually went to 41 weeks this time. I gave birth a couple of days before 41 weeks, but this time I went all the way to 41 weeks. By the time I got to my 41 week appointment, we had an extra ultrasound, and at the time our midwife determined that it would be good to have the baby that day. After the appointment, I called my mom and I was like, okay, I think you need to come because we're going to try to do some natural things to get labor going. And at my appointment, I had a membrane sweep, so that was like around 11 in the morning. And then after that in the afternoon, I was trying to do a few things like to avoid taking castor oil because that was the next thing that our midwife was recommending. So I tried going for a walk and like a little bit, and the mile circuit. I did the breast pump, got like a few weak little contractions. But the thing was, and this happened with my second daughter as well, was that the baby was up high. It's so funny, this birth kind of reminds me just like my second daughter. And so I was trying to do squats and trying to bring baby down and get them in a good position. And eventually I did get them down right in the center of my pelvis because they were kind of off to the side into my left hip, and that's happened with several of my other kids as well. I don't know why they all like to be kind of in my left hip and not have their head like down and low. So we got the baby in the right position, but there was no contractions yet. But we decided around 4 o'clock I would try the castor oil, and it was not the most pleasant thing. And so it did create contractions for me. It took a couple doses though, like it didn't work right away. And then around, it was like about 7 o'clock in the evening is when I would say labor actually started, like where I was like, okay, I think this is labor, because there's a few like wimpy contractions maybe before that, but then it started getting to a regular rhythm around 7 o'clock. And that's when it basically picked up quickly. And at 7:30 we ate dinner, and then I was just not able to put the kids to bed. So I was really glad that my mom was there, because otherwise my husband would have had to be doing all the work and getting everything kind of set up for the birth, and it would have been a lot on him. So it was really helpful that we knew ahead of time to have her come. So this allowed me to focus on myself. So around 8:19 here, I have my text here. I texted the midwife telling her I was having medium contractions about 4 minutes apart. She said that's great. And I told her to stay on standby. Then around 10, I said the contractions are still medium, but they're spreading out a little bit, because around 10 I started to get tired. I started to lay down in between contractions, and so I think that made them slow down a little bit. But then when I'd have a contraction, I'd kind of stand up, walk around the room to get through the contraction, and then lay back down. And so they're asking, like, do you want us to come over? Because it was like 10, and so it's been about 3 hours, and I was like, I don't know yet. I'm gonna try to lay down and to get some sleep. And I think I laid down for like 10 or 15 minutes, had a couple contractions, and I was like, okay, I can't do this. I need you guys to come over. Literally 10:44, I texted them like, you guys come over. So it's 10:44, I texted them. They got here at 10:58, and the baby was born at 11:54. So about an hour. So they're only here for about an hour before the baby's born. So I actually was going to text them a little bit later. I had planned to wait maybe another 20 minutes, but something in me told me to text them a little early. I don't know what it was, but there's like an instinct, even though I wasn't feeling like I was gonna start pushing soon, I was just like, I better just let them come over early. So around 10:45 is about when I got in the shower. We actually had the birth pool all set up. It was filled up this time. We did it ahead of time. We even blew up the birth pool the morning before I had the baby. And the funny thing was, that morning, my husband and I both woke up and we're both like, today's the day. We're like, we better blow up the birth pool. We just had a feeling it was gonna be that day. And actually, like a week before, my daughter even told me, she's like, I think you're gonna have the baby on Wednesday. And I was like, are you sure? Because it was like still like about 5 or 6 days away. And she's like, no, I think it's gonna be like next Wednesday. It's like, all right. So anyways, the midwife showed up around 11. My husband was holding the shower head towards my back and then applying pressure to my back because I tend to get a lot of back pressure. And I asked at that point, maybe after 20 minutes or so, I was like, can you just check me and see where I'm at? And so I had her check me, and she said I had a cervical lip. And I feel like this is what happened last time. So the midwife we had this time was all ready to tackle that because we told her about what had happened before. She's like, yeah, you have a cervical lip. And so during a contraction, she reached in and tried to pull the cervix around the baby's head so that I could continue pushing. And then the midwife after that recommended maybe trying to get my pelvis in an asymmetrical position. So she asked me, you know, if I wanted to. She wasn't telling me what I had to do. And it actually felt really good. It's like the only time I've actually pushed and felt good. Usually in the past I've had contractions on top of each other. And this time they were like spread out, maybe like 4 or 5 minutes apart. And it was really a comfortable pushing experience. It was the best pushing experience I've ever had. And I ended up giving birth in that position, standing up in my shower. So it's interesting. People were like, how was your birth? And I'm like, it was great. I was just standing up in my shower. So she eventually came out just before midnight. So our little girl was born just before midnight, and her name is Isabel. And when she was born, my husband said he just had this feeling in his head, like the name should be Isabella. Like the name Isabella popped in his head as soon as she came out. And we had another name picked out for a girl because we didn't know the gender before the birth. And we had another name picked out, and we just decided we didn't like it. It just didn't have a really good meaning that we liked. I liked the way it sounded, but I just didn't like the meaning of it. But my husband really liked Isabella, and I just didn't like the A on the end. Like it sounds really fancy, like kind of elaborate. And I wanted something a little more simple. And so we went with Isabel, and it was funny, I noticed after we picked the name that all our kids' names end with an E. So she fits in really well with our other kids. We have a Jasmine, a Charlotte, a Theodore, and Isabel now. So we have 1 little boy and 3 girls, and I guess our little boy is going to be a little prince because he's surrounded by girls now. And she's been really good. She was 6 pounds, 5 ounces, and 19 inches long. So she was little. So it's kind of interesting to see the genetics play out because my husband is petite and I'm tall. And so our kids have had varying, very drastic birth weight differences. So thank you for listening to my birth story, and I'll be back again soon here when I can. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.